Welcome to the world of spatial design, where creativity knows no bounds. Imagine a universe where everything around you becomes a limitless canvas, enabling you to create amazing apps like never before. Today, we're going to learn how to design for a spatial operating system, delve into the spatial design principles and UI foundations, and explore how this platform can transform your app from a screen to a spatial dimension. Apple has announced a new groundbreaking product, Vision Pro, the world's first spatial computer. visionOS is the new operating system designed for Apple Vision Pro. First, we'll discover spatial design principles, ensuring familiarity with common elements like sidebars, tabs, and search fields. Designing with points to scale and adapt to different screen sizes and distances in the spatial platform. Human-centered design is at the core of the design approach, considering how users perceive and move within the spatial realm. Unlock the true potential of spatial design by utilizing depth and scale to create hierarchy and focus, seamlessly blending reality with immersive experiences. Apple has released its long-awaited design kit for Figma for all platforms. We will explore all the essential system components, including windows, tab bar, sidebar, toolbar, menus, popovers, and sheets, assisting you in adapting them to immersive and spatial experiences. By utilizing these tools, designers can quickly and efficiently breathe life into their visionOS app designs, resulting in strikingly realistic interfaces. We will also highlight the differences between iOS and visionOS and how to transform your app from a screen to a spatial dimension. Additionally, we will explore ornaments. It displays controls and information for a window without covering up its contents. Ornaments can be placed on any side of a window, typically at the bottom. Finally, we will look into the key elements necessary for a design success, such as materials, typography, colors, icons, and app icons. So let's get started. Before you start designing your application for visionOS, you must understand the fundamental device characteristics and patterns that distinguish the platform. Then, you can use this knowledge to guide your design decisions and create immersive, engaging experiences. Please note that all resources are from Apple. I recommend that you visit their website for in-depth details. Please note that the images are for illustration purposes only. It's not the real image of Vision Pro. Since it's not out yet, it's hard to get real examples. We'll find out more about this product as soon as it's released, and I'll be the first to test it for you so we can create better spatial designs together. Based on the human guideline provided by Apple, I'll take this knowledge to guide you in my way. So, are you ready? Let's do it! Apple has announced a new groundbreaking product, the world's first spatial computer, which will be available next year. It's a headset computer that provides a 4K resolution display for each eye, allowing you to do all the usual things you do on a computer, like browsing Safari, FaceTime your friends, watching photos, movies, games, and even capturing magical spatial photos and videos in 3D. The unique aspect is how you interact with the device. You don't need controllers, keyboards, or a mouse. Instead, you control it with your eyes, hands, and voice. I invite you to look at the Apple website for more information on this product. visionOS is the new operating system designed for Apple Vision Pro. It is similar to iOS, but with optimizations and features made for spatial computing. Here are some features of visionOS: 3D apps, immersive experiences, hand and eye control, infinite canvas, and resizable apps. But how can we design for visionOS if it still needs to be released? Apple has recently updated the human interface guidelines for visionOS, providing us with ample information and guidelines to design for visionOS. I recommend that you take a look at these guidelines to familiarize yourself with the platform. How do users interact with Vision Pro? Users interact with Vision Pro using their eyes, hands, and voice. Most actions are performed by looking at a virtual object to highlight it and then making an indirect gesture, such as tapping, to activate it. Users can also directly interact with virtual objects by touching them with their fingers or dictating their voice. In spatial design, it's essential to strike a balance between the new possibilities and what's familiar to users. Incorporating common elements like sidebars, tabs, and search fields can help users find their way around your app. On a spatial platform, users should still be able to find and interact with content using recognizable elements they are accustomed to. In this example, you can see the Apple Music application on your cell phone and the web application. The user interface remains consistent across platforms, with familiar elements such as the search field, side menu, tab bar, and music player. I've adapted these UI components from iOS to visionOS, incorporating larger typography to improve visibility. The tab bar and music player are placed outside the window to maximize space utilization and avoid excessive interface clutter. When using your app, users will find it familiar, as it employs components they already know. iOS platform, Windows traditionally use an opaque material. However, visionOS introduces a new visual style using glass material, which contrasts with the surroundings and enhances users' awareness of their environment, even in various lighting conditions. The system provides simple controls to move, close, and resize windows. Users can quickly grab the window bar to move windows around. Interestingly, the windows always face the user when moving, ensuring readability and ease of use. Once released, the window remains in its final position. Windows can adjust to different sizes, but choosing a comfortable size for your app's content is crucial. You can use tab bars and toolbars to create more space for content outside the window. Try not to have too many windows open at once because it might be hard for users to handle. It's better to keep your app's interface in one window. Consider making your app adaptable and dynamic, changing its shape and size based on the context. Designing apps for this platform is so much fun. If you want more space to work with, go ahead and make your canvas bigger. Usually a window is 1306 by 734 points in size when it opens up. Designing with points is crucial for ensuring that your interfaces scale well. This is a concept you're already familiar with. Points allow you to specify the size of interface elements in a way that adapts to different screen sizes. On this spatial platform, as users move windows, the interfaces scale larger or smaller based on their distance from the user. This maintains legible and usable interfaces. If you're already familiar with points from other platforms, you'll find it's a similar way to set the size of interface elements like buttons using units you already know. Designing spatial apps requires a human-centered approach, prioritizing human users' needs, preferences, and experiences. Users wear the device, using their eyes and hands to interact and experience apps through their view in their space. Consider what users can see within their field of view and how they might need to move to design your app's content accordingly. Designing with human-centered also means incorporating ergonomics, which involves considering how users physically interact with the interface, including their posture, body movements, and comfort. It's essential to position objects comfortably in all dimensions. By default, windows are strategically placed along a natural line of sight to promote a healthy and comfortable posture. When adding your content, ensure it aligns relative to the person's head and the direction they are facing. Create stationary experiences in your apps, where the content and elements remain fixed, to enhance user-friendliness and minimize unnecessary movement. Ensure effortless interaction for all users, avoiding excessive motion, especially if it's not essential to your app's core functionality. Provide a simple recentering option for users who may change seats or directions. Great spatial apps take advantage of the space around users. Design your app to work well in any amount of physical space, while also considering the infinite canvas of the spatial platform. Depth and scale are potent tools to create hierarchy and emphasize content. Use depth to guide user attention and build a sense of immersion. The subtle depth and appropriate scaling can enhance the user experience without being distracting or unrealistic. Immersive experiences go beyond traditional app interfaces and transform the user's world. By understanding the immersion spectrum, you can design apps that fluidly transition between different states of immersion. Start with a window in the shared space, allowing users to control their level of immersion. Use dimming to focus attention on specific content without completely removing users from their space. consider designing immersive experiences that feel connected to the user's physical surroundings while also ensuring flexibility to adapt to different spaces. To make your app really connect with users, it's important to use the platform's special abilities. Instead of just quick interactions, go for immersive experiences that use up the user's space. Try to create features that are interesting and valuable, and that users would like to have in their personal space. Find a moment in your app that can only be experienced when you consider space, and add something cool and magical to it. When it comes to moving within your app or adjusting someone's position within it, it's crucial to avoid sudden, large, and fast movements. Such movements can cause discomfort and disorientation for users. To ensure a smoother experience, we recommend incorporating fading effects. Employ a gradual approach by fading out content while it's in motion and then fading it back in once it's settled. This gentle transition will help users feel more steady and in control of their environment. Next, you will discover how to use these spatial design principles to extend your existing application or bring a new idea to life. Before delving into the design process, it's essential to have a copy of the Apple Design Resources for visionOS. This comprehensive package offers designers a valuable resource, including various UI components, templates, colors, materials, and text styles. Equipped with these tools, designers can infuse life into their visionOS app designs quickly and efficiently, creating stunningly realistic interfaces. To use this library in my Figma file and collaborate with my team, I just need to go to Assets, choose Library, and click Publish. Then, I click on Move to Team. Next, we will open a new design file. Don't worry, I'll share my Figma file with you in the descriptions. Now, let's take a look at the components in Apple's design resources. Many of the platform's components will be familiar to you. I'm going to start by talking about ornaments, and then I'll discuss the essential components by comparing iOS and visionOS. But first, we have to create the core structure of our spatial design. When you've finished exploring the components, we'll start by choosing a background for our spatial design. You have the option to use the one provided by Apple, My Background, or an image of your choice. Remember that the image is only temporary and is intended to serve as a background during the design process. I generated my image from Midjourney using this prompt. You'll have access to the prompt and can generate new images if you want. For more details on how to generate your image using Midjourney, we have a tutorial to assist you. You can watch the tutorial on our YouTube channel at Design Code and search for Ultimate Guide to Midjourney V5 for UI designers. Don't worry, I will also share the link on the description. I'm going to copy my image, and I'll click on the plus icon to add a new page. It's going to be my workspace. Then I'll paste my image on this page. The first step in our design process is to create a window, a fundamental concept in spatial design. The window serves as a container for the views and components that present your application's user interface. We will be using the default window size of 1280 by 720 for this design. Press F to activate the Frame tool. Create a frame of 1280 by 720 and set the corner radius to 46. We'll discuss the corner radius a little further on. We'll place our image inside a frame. Select the image, then right-click and choose Frame Selection. Name the frame as Spatial Design, and also name the window frame as Window. Place the window within the spatial design frame and align it at the center. As mentioned earlier, the window employs a new visual language, incorporating glass materials to create contrast with the environment and adapt to various lighting conditions. This glass material enhances the sense of connection to the real world. Now, let's apply the glass material to our window. To use the Apple Design Resources library, you need to activate it first. Go to the Assets section located next to Layers. Click on the book icon and then type visionOS to activate it. Once activated, you'll gain complete access to the library. Next, we'll go to the Fill section. Right next to the plus icon, you'll find the icon style. Here, you'll see all of Apple's color styles for visionOS. We'll use the glass color style. Also, we will add stroke by using the window stroke glass specular style and add blur effect. Now, let's talk about ornament. An ornament displays controls and information for a window without covering up its contents. Ornaments can be placed on any side of a window, typically at the bottom, containing buttons, segmented controls, and other elements. The system uses ornaments to create toolbars, tab bars, and video controls, but you can also design your custom ornaments. Choose an ornament instead of an extra window for more controls and information. Using an ornament for relevant functions avoids needing another window users have to handle separately. Also, think about using borderless buttons within an ornament. Since an ornament's background looks like glass, a button on it might not need a visible border. The system adds a hover effect when users interact with a borderless button in an ornament. In most cases, it's best to keep an ornament visible. While it may make sense to hide an ornament when people focus on a window's content, such as watching a video or viewing a photo, users generally prefer having continuous access to the ornament's controls. Try to ensure that an ornament's width is the same as or narrower than the associated window. If the ornament is wider than the window, it might interfere with a tab bar or other vertical content on the side of the window. Let's add an ornament to our spatial design using the toolbar component. In the assets, search for toolbar, pick the first one, and place it at the bottom of the window. In the component properties, we can set the number of items we want. We're going to select 5. Let's talk about toolbar. On the iOS platform, a toolbar is positioned at the top of the screen. However, on visionOS, it is placed outside the window, appearing at the bottom of the screen. It contains a set of buttons or controls that provide quick access to common actions or features within an app. Toolbars often include icons or text labels to represent different functions, and users can tap these buttons to perform actions without having to navigate through menus or other parts of the app. Now, back to our toolbar. To seamlessly integrate ornaments with the main window while avoiding excessive content obstruction, position them at the bottom edge of the window with a 20-point overlap. This technique enhances their visual appeal, allowing them to pull colors from the content as users scroll, resulting in a visually pleasing experience. Moreover, ornaments can expand to present additional content or have their own navigation hierarchy, allowing for a more versatile user interface. Take the time to find the appropriate spots for ornaments within your app, as they provide flexibility and depth without obstructing valuable content. Unless you need to create custom components, it's best to use the toolbars and tab bars provided by the system. Remember, toolbars and tab bars automatically function as ornaments, so there's no need to use an ornament specifically to create these components. So I want to create a travel app inspired by Expedia. Let's take a look at their website. They utilize segment controls that offer options for booking, including stay, flights, car, package, and cruise. I will do the same thing using the toolbar we currently have. Now go back to our Figma file. Select the toolbar and write the categories in the component properties where is title. Instead of writing thing to do, I'll write activities. I realized that I forgot to add another tab for cruise. I'll change it to 6 items. Then, make sure to align the toolbar in the center. Now we need a tab bar. Go to the Asset field and type the tab bar. Select the first and place it on the left. In the component properties, we're going to select 5 tabs. So, the spacing from the window is 28, and make sure to align the center with the window. Now let's talk about tab bar. As you know, the tab bar serves as a navigation with different sections of the application. It consists of a row of individual tabs or buttons, each representing a distinct section of the app. When a user taps or clicks on a tab, the app switches to the corresponding section, allowing users to navigate between different parts of the app easily. On the iPhone, a horizontal tab bar is positioned at the bottom of the window. However, in visionOS, the tab bar has a unique layout, positioned vertically and neatly floating on the left-hand side of the window. This positioning allows it to remain hidden, yet easily accessible at all times. By strategically placing the tab bar, users can effortlessly assess their position within the application without disrupting their interaction with the main content. For a smooth user experience, it's important to keep the tab bar simple and clear. Usually, it's better to have no more than 6 items to make the interface feel easy to use. Also, users can quickly select an item by glancing at the tab bar, streamlining navigation. Additionally, if they look at it a bit longer, it automatically expands, showing clear labels for each section, providing valuable context to those who need it. Now, it's time to add a sidebar. Place it on the left and align it to the top inside the window frame. So, a sidebar is a vertical column located on the left side of the main content area. The purpose of a sidebar is to provide quick access to secondary functionality, tools, or navigation options related to the main content. It can display additional information or functionalities without cluttering up the main interface. Now, it's time to add a navigation bar. Place it at the top of the window, takes the left edge of the frame, and stops at the right side of the sidebar. So, similar to iOS, the navigation bar is located at the top of your window, making essential functionalities easily accessible. Depending on the type of window you're designing, you have various options for the navigation bar. For a home page, a straightforward navigation bar could include a title and a button leading users to their profiles. On the other hand, for other pages within your app, you might need a back button that lets users navigate back to the previous page. This feature ensures a seamless user experience, enabling them to explore different sections of your app with ease. Now, we'll talk about popover in Sheets. A popover is a temporary view that shows up above existing content when users clicked or tapped a control or interactive area. It presents information or option in a floating manner on a window, allowing additional details or controls tied to the current context or view without completely covering the screen. Now we're going to duplicate our spatial design frame. We'll remove the sidebar and extend the navigation bar to the window frame. In the component properties, you have several choices to choose from. We're going to select the leading and trailing buttons. So, the share sheet is the component you can use for the popover. Let's say you have a share button in the navigation bar, so when users click on it, they will see this popover window. The popover window appears aligned with the center of the button. There's also a menu component you may use for the popover. If you have a plus button, this menu will be perfect. On iOS, a popover is a small floating window with a special arrow called the popover arrow. This arrow shows where the popover's information comes from by pointing to the triggering element. This connects the popover to its context. In visionOS, there's no arrow. Instead, the window directly lines up with the source of the popover's information. Now, I'll talk about Sheet. Sheets appear as a modal dialog or a transient view on the screen. It is a specific style of presenting content that overlays the current screen temporarily, providing additional options or information without entirely navigating away from the current context. Sheets are commonly used for various purposes, such as displaying settings, showing details about an item, presenting alerts, or requesting user input for a specific task. They offer a clean and focused way to interact with secondary content without losing the context of the main app or view. On the iOS platform, when a sheet is displayed, the underlying content is usually dimmed or blurred to draw the user's attention to the sheet's content. The transition of a sheet in iOS typically involves a smooth animation that gives the user a sense of continuity as the sheet appears or disappears. Sheets can slide up from the bottom of the screen or appear as a card-like overlay, depending on the design and implementation chosen by the developer. The sheet usually has a dismiss button or a gesture like swiping down to close it and return to the previous view. In this system, sheets are presented as modal views and appear at the center of the app. Modals maintain the same Z position as the parent window. the parent window is pushed back and dimmed, which helps focus the user's experience and prevents them from interacting with the parent view until the sheet is dismissed. If you need to present another sheet, a secondary model can appear in front, with an additional layer of dimming, pushing everything back. Since we're stacking all these elements in the Z-axis, consider using push navigation for nested views. It is recommended to position close buttons in the top left corner of the sheet. In the secondary view, opt for a back button instead of a close button to ensure intuitive navigation. For custom components, we'll only create those in the next section. We'll finish the structure of our spatial design with a control. Place it at the bottom of the toolbar. The control should be placed at the bottom of the window or toolbar. It must be the same width as the window. If there's no toolbar, the control should be placed under the window. So, the system provides controls to move, close, and resize windows. Users can grab the window bar to move windows anywhere around them. We've finished creating the core of our spatial design and incorporated Apple's UI components. Before we create our custom layouts, let's explore the materials defined by the system and make the most of this. This will give our application a fantastic look in different scenarios and lighting conditions. So, here we have the colors for the text that Apple uses for visionOS. They are categorized as primary, secondary, and tertiary colors. Next, we have the colors for standard format windows as well as smaller windows. Moving on, we also have materials designed for lighter, darker, and ultra-dark themes, along with materials for separators. Furthermore, materials are available for various controls including hover, pinch, selected, and disabled states. Let me provide you with an example to illustrate this. So here we have all the controls: idle, hover, pinch, selected, and disabled. Recessed material is often used for input fields. Let me show you an example. In the case of input fields, Apple employs a depth effect that gives the layout a pressed-in appearance or creates the illusion of a concave surface. Here are some tips for using Apple materials effectively. Consider using a darker material to separate sections of your application, for example, for the sidebar. Opt for a lighter material to draw attention to interactive elements like buttons. The key is to achieve good contrast, so experiment with different materials. However, avoid stacking lighter materials on each other, as it can negatively impact legibility and reduce contrast. Instead, you may put a darker material under it for better contrast. Avoid using solid colors on windows in your interface design. When there are too many opaque windows, the overall user experience may feel constrained, and the interface may look heavy. Opting for a dynamic glass effect may be more beneficial. Glass elements react dynamically to lighting, allowing contrast and color balance to be adjusted and seamlessly integrated into the user space. For example, when changing from day to night, glass elements may adapt accordingly, enhancing the visual experience. Unlike iOS, this platform does not rely on a fixed light or dark appearance. Instead, both the glass and user interface naturally adapt to the surrounding environment, making them blend harmoniously when placed in front of light or dark backgrounds. Typography in visionOS has been carefully designed to ensure text looks great and is easy to read. All font styles employ semantic names that function across all platforms to maintain familiarity. Apple modified some font weights and made them bolder. They use bolder versions of the dynamic type body and title styles. For example, on iOS, we use regular weight for the body text style, and for the titles, we use semi-bold. On this platform, we use medium for the body text and bold for titles. These thoughtful improvements guarantee a visually impressive and captivating interface for users. Besides the fonts you know, visionOS has two brand new font styles, Extra Large Title 1 and Large Title 2. These font styles are ideal for wide editorial style layouts. As in iOS, SF Pro is the default system font for visionOS. However, if you decide to use a custom font, ensure your text maintains its good appearance and remains easily readable when scaled. Choose a text style that looks visually appealing at its original size, then test its legibility at different scales. Maximize the contrast between text and the background of its container. By default, the system displays text in white, as this color provides strong contrast with the default system background, making text easier to read. If you opt for a different text color, thoroughly test it in different contexts to ensure readability. Keeping text legible across the whole system is essential, and one of the key ways of achieving this is by using vibrancy. Vibrancy brightens the foreground content above a material, ensuring that text remains legible even when the background changes. It's best to use Apple system colors and follow their primary, secondary, and tertiary modes for text, symbols, and fills to maintain a consistent, clear visual hierarchy. Now let's talk about colors. The glass material can be different colors, showing the color behind it. Colored elements above the glass may be difficult to see if the color of the glass is similar. Most of the time, it's best to use white text or symbols so that they're always clearly visible. If you must use color, use it in a background layer or an entire button so that people may see it. Use system colors rather than custom colors, as these have been carefully calibrated for legibility and adapted dynamically to maintain hue and contrast on the glass. Now, we will talk about ergonomic layouts and how to create layouts that work with the new eye focus feedback. Users interact primarily with their eyes and hands on this platform. That's why we must create experiences that prioritize physical comfort, and safety is important. It's crucial to keep your user interface within the people's field of view because of the next range of movement. For most people, it's easier to turn their head to the right and left rather than up and down. Be careful not to place your element too high or too down. Instead, opt for a canvas which extends horizontally than vertically. Also, prioritize centering information within your app, enabling users to view your content comfortably. Let's go back to our spatial design. We'll start with the second frame. So we're going to create a search page for hotels. But you can choose another option, like choosing destinations, for example. Let me zoom a little bit. Okay, now active the frame tool by pressing the F key. We'll create a frame of 207 by 182. Then we're going to insert an image from Unsplash. To use this plugin, you must download it by clicking on Try It Out. Once you've clicked on Try It Out, go back to your page and select the frame. Right-click and click on Plugin and find Unsplash. A panel will appear and you can search for the image that you want. I need images related to the hotel, such as rooms and beds. So I'm going to type hotel in the search field and find my image. All right, I'm going to select this one. Then name the frame layer by image. Now activate the text tool by pressing the T key and write a name of the hotel. By example, I'm going to write CM Hotel. Go to the text properties and click on the style icon. Where is the 4 points icon? Select headline text style and set to align left. Now, go to typesetting. Where is the 3 points for more option? For the resizing, select auto width. Duplicate the text by pressing Command plus C to copy and Command plus V to paste. Then change the text to the room price. I'll put $98. In Thailand, prices are much cheaper than in Montreal. Did you know that a room in Montreal costs around $400? Expensive, right? Now, we're going to add the location of the hotel. Let's say the hotel is in Pattaya. Don't forget that this hotel may not even exist. It's just a placeholder. For the text style, we're going to use the callout. Again, go to the type settings and select auto width. After that, select the hotel and the price. We're going to change the color for the primary text style. I know that the color is already white, but we still set the style for the text color. For the location, set the color style to secondary text style. We're going to add a rating for this hotel, let's say 8.3 out of 10, which is pretty good. We'll choose the callout style and again, go to typesetting and select auto width. Select the text and we're going to put it in auto layout. Press on Shift plus A to activate the auto layout tool. First, I'm going to set 0 to all the setting in the auto layout properties. go in the frame section. Instead of hug content, we're going to select fixed width and fixed height, change the size to 28 by 28. Now let's add a little color. Don't forget what I said earlier. Avoid putting colors anywhere, and choose a system color because they're adapted to maintain hue and contrast on the glass. For example, if you really want to choose your custom color, I suggest you to choose a tone that is similar to one of the system. Set the corner radius to 4. Next, select the hotel and the price and add them auto layout by pressing on Shift+A. Between the two texts, we're going to extend them to the right. That's the spacing between the two items. We'll set the right spacing later. We'll do the same with location and rating. Select the two new frames, add them in auto layout by pressing on Shift+A. Set 4 on the spacing between items and a line in the center. Name the layer by content. Select the content and the image layer, add them in auto layout. For the setting in the auto layout properties, define 10 for each field. We'll fill the layout with the lighter material. Don't forget what I said earlier. We use light material for interactive elements, and this layout is interactive. Users can click on it and it will take them to another more detailed page of the chosen hotel. For more contrast, I'll use the stroke used for the window. Now let's talk about the corner radius. I want the corners to have a radius of 20. To find the inner corner radius, there's a formula for that. Subtract the padding from the layout corner radius. This will give you 10. If the inner content's corner radius is already 10, use a different method, addition the padding to the layout corner radius to get the outer corner radius. For the window, we must have a minimum padding or margin of 24 points. I'll activate the ruler tool to guide me for the padding of my window. I want to align my contents with the navigation bar, so I'll add 2 lines and the padding supposed to be 24. I'll then move my layout to the left, aligned with the red line. Press on Option to see the spacing. Good, it's 24. Next, name the layout by Hotel 1 inch and then duplicate 4 more. Don't forget the shortcut is Command+C to copy and Command+V to paste. Then, select the 5 layouts and add in another auto layout. Make sure to set the horizontal layout. We're going to set the spacing between item to 24. You can set 24 directly on the field or extend in the layouts. Don't forget that your layout is interactive, so when it's not selected, there won't be a frame around it. I was too quick, but I just realized a problem that's been bothering me. See the decimal number? I had set the padding to 10 and it shouldn't be 10.5. And to fix that, it's very simple and easy. But first set it in the center, then select the frame inside the contents frame. Go to the frame section under the width, change hug to fill container. Then go to auto layout properties. Where is the spacing between item? Change to auto. Now we can press on Option to see the spacing. Great! Luckily, I haven't changed the other contents yet, so I'll simply copy and replace the other layouts to avoid repeating the same process one by one. We're going to create another layout with a different size. Duplicate the layout and go to the frame section. Change to fixed width and change to the width size to 290. Then, change to fixed height and change the size to 260. Now, select the image frame and change to fill container in the frame properties. Then, select the contents layer and change to fill container too. Oops! I forget to select fill container in auto for the spacing between items for the hotel and the price. Select them, change to fill container for the width only, and set to auto in the auto layout property. Perfect! We're going to duplicate 3 more. Then add them in auto layout, choose the horizontal layout, and set the spacing between items to 24. We're going to add a title for both sections. Press on T, write, "We have found over 10,000 hotels for your stay in Thailand." Go to Typesetting and select Auto Width. Then we're going to choose the Title 3 text style. The spacing between the title and the first section of layouts is 24. Then select both, and place them in a frame. Right-click and click on Frame Selection. Name by Section 1. I'm going to make a space for the title for the second section by moving my Section 1 frame to the top. Then, we're going to repeat the same process. Start by activate the text tool and write the most recommended. Go to Typesetting and choose Auto Width. The spacing between the title and the layouts is 24. Place them in a frame and name the layer by Section 2. Select the two sections and the spacing between them is 32. Then I'm going to make a little space at the top to create the input field. We're going to copy a button symbol from our navigation bar. It's essential to give all interactive elements, such as buttons, at least 60 points of space so that they may be easily selected. This means that your UI element may be visually smaller, like the standard 44-point button, as long as you add enough space around it. We're going to add auto layout to the button symbol, then name by icon. I'll add 8 points on the horizontal and vertical padding to meet the minimum target area of 60 points. Press on T and write going to using the footnote text style and the text secondary color style. Then, duplicate the text, change to a destination. I'm going to choose Thailand because I would like to visit it. Change the text and color style to body and text primary. Select the two texts, add auto layout. Then select icon in the text layer, add in another auto layout. In the auto layout properties, set to align left in the center. Set a spacing between items to 4 and name the layer by destination. Go to the frame section, change to fixed width, and change the width size to 291. We're going to fill with the lighter material and set the corner radius to 100. Set the corner radius to 100 and duplicate it 3 more times. Next, add them in Auto Layout and select the Horizontal Layout option. Set the spacing between items to 16, followed by applying 10 on the horizontal and vertical padding. Finally, we will style it using the darker material. Don't forget what I said earlier. Avoid putting lighter material on top of each other. For better contrast, we're going to create a background underneath using the darker material. Then, we're going to round the layout to 100. Can you see that it's much better like this? The last step in this section is to remove the color from the background symbol. After that, we'll move on to the next section, where we'll incorporate the symbols, discuss the SF symbol and app icon, and finish the second screen with the sidebar. An app icon is a visual representation of a mobile application on the home screen of an Apple device, such as an iPhone, iPad, MacBook, or iMac. It is a quick and recognizable way for users to access and launch the corresponding app. The app icon is a small square image that typically includes the app's logo, branding, or a distinctive visual element that helps users identify the app. Apple provides guidelines and specifications for creating app icons to ensure consistency and quality across the all platform. These guidelines cover size, resolution, shape, and design principles. App icons must be carefully crafted to be visually appealing, easily recognizable, and reflect the app's purpose and identity. For more details, I recommend you take a look at the Human Interface Guidelines for app icons. In iOS, the app icon is square and slightly rounded, while visionOS is circular and includes a background layer and 1 or 2 layers on top, producing a 3-dimensional object that subtly expands when people view it. For visionOS, Apple wanted the home screen to feel familiar, so they made app icons look like they're popping out in 3D. When you look at them, they get bigger, and the system adds shiny highlights and shadows to make them seem more real. Each layer is a 1024 by 1024 pixel square image. The upper layers should have no background. The bottom layer should look like an image that fits within the edges of the square. Layers are cut in the shape of a circle. Then, when the layers fit together, a glass layer gives them a deeper appearance, with shiny parts and shadows. To keep the image looking good, keep things in the middle. If an element is too close to the edge, it's likely to look weird when it's bigger. Designing an effective app icon requires careful consideration of various factors to ensure it stands out and represents your app's identity accurately. Here are some best practices to follow when creating app icons. Start with a full bleed, non-transparent image for the background layer. This layer serves as the foundation for your icon's design. However, avoid using full bleed images in non-background layers. Use transparent areas in these layers allows underlying visual information to shine through, enhancing the overall icon appearance. To ensure compatibility with the system's circular mask cropping, provide each layer of your app icon as a square image and avoid placing the shapes too close to the edges. This practice prevents negative effects on the icon's final appearance caused by the system's cropping process. Avoid adding custom specular highlights or shadows to your app icon. These elements can interfere with the dynamic visual effects provided by the system. For more information about App Icon for visionOS, visit the App Icons Guidelines by Apple. Now we're going to add icons to our design. We will use icons from the SF Symbols, which is a vast collection of over 5,000 icons and over 700 new symbols that seamlessly integrate with Apple's San Francisco font. Make sure to download it before we get started. We'll pick up where we left off. We'll start with the input field. We'll open SF Symbols app and find a symbol to match the destination, such as a globe. Copy the symbol and select the button symbol in the component properties. Then paste your symbol wherever there's a symbol field. Now we need a symbol that represents date, so we'll opt for a calendar. After that, we're going to change the text to date and write a random date. Now we need a symbol that represents passenger, so we'll opt for a person symbol. Then we're going to change the text to passenger and write 2 passengers. And for the last, we need a symbol that represents room, so we'll go with a bed symbol. Then we're going to change the text to room and write 1 room. We finished this part. This page will be the stays category, so select the toolbar and set to selected in the state field for the item 1 in the component properties. Now going to focus on the navigation bar, and we're going to change the title to stays. So write stays in the title field in the component properties. We'll start with the 2 interactions on the left-hand side, so we'll need a symbol leading to the sidebar and a back button. Oops, let me remove the layout grid. We will choose slider horizontal, or you can use the hamburger menu for the side menu. Then for the back button, we will choose the chevron left. Now let's turn to the right for notification and account. First, I'll detach instance and I'll fill it with a photo from Unsplash. I'll choose a random photo of a girl, and then we may delete the symbol. Instead of choosing a person symbol, I decide to take a real photo instead. For the notification, we'll opt for the bell symbol. We're now going to fill our tab bar with symbols. First, we need to determine the sections of each tab. The first tab is normally the home page, with options to explore different sections such as flights, hotels, packages, etc. The second tab will be our booking or trip section. In the middle will be search, then flight status and account. You may choose the symbols that suit you best, but they have to fit in with your subject. Once you have your symbols, click on Hover and write the title of each tab. Don't forget what I said about the tab bar. When a user takes a long look at the tab bar, it extends and see in more detail the titles of each tab. We have completed our design, but I'd like to assign you a small homework or exercise. Create a screen using what you've learned, and this time integrate a sidebar, popover, or ornament into your design. Then I'd like you to tag me on Instagram at surasith.design or Twitter at teetpoem so I can see your work. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy the video. See you soon.